What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about two different cryptos in this video today. We'll be talking about HBAR, Hedera Hashgraph, and XLM, Stellar Lumens. If that sounds good to you, hit the like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. We'll first be talking about HBAR today, and then in the second half of the video, it will be Stellar Lumens time. Okay, so here we are, looking at this at about 16.5 cents now. We do have 1 day and 7 hours left in this week, down almost 11% this week for HBAR, with a massive scam wick on the 10th of October there. I don't know if we should consider this price action real. Perhaps we should look at this on Coinbase, where I think the price action is more real. Man, I can't believe, wow, it actually did drop a lot on Coinbase as well. A lot of volume. A lot of volume has been had at these low levels, you guys, right? Just like here, we had a lot of volume at the top, right? We've got a lot of volume here at the bottom, right? At the bottom, we might be moving up. That's just my thoughts there. Typically, that's common. It's not always what you see. But, you know, here, relatively speaking, volume was kind of dying off. Then you had a surge in volume here at your low points, right? At your low points here, there wasn't a whole lot of volume, but as you started to grow and build, you did have more volume come in. Anyways, looking at this on the short-term side of things, looking at the 1 hour time frame, zooming in here. The RSI does look bearish. You're doing some things that are hinting at your desire to move higher, and maybe you do. You know, you've got these lower highs coming in here, and it's like you want to break out of it now, but you're not doing it. You are definitely doing something different here than you have at any of these other high points, right, where you rejected down. And different behavior can beget different results. That's definitely something that could happen. But overall, still bearish. Overall, still finding resistance at the same areas that you've been finding resistance at. Even back here, it wouldn't surprise me if we did go lower. Maybe we form a higher low here in the RSI while providing a lower low in the price, giving us some bullish divergence. So something below 15.8 cents, 15.7 cents is very possible. We have had this move down. You had a little bit of a consolidation phase here, and it looks like we're sorry. It looks like we're breaking out now. Hold on, guys. Looks like we're breaking out. Wow, something's wrong with my voice. One second. It looks like we are breaking out now. There we go. Got it. To the downside. We might be back testing this point for resistance here, but I would think that we are moving lower. Not a whole lot of volume, but it is the weekend. Typically on the weekends, we are absent of volume. The stochastics, I have to admit, look bullish here right now. We do have 30 minutes left in this hour candle, so let's see if we come back down and close the candle this green or even red by the end of it. We're only up 0.6% on this hour. I certainly believe we could move lower. But right now, the stochastics crossing up like this actually does look good. It's not really common to find support here. Typically, you go lower, but maybe you do, in which case that actually could be a positive sign that could signal that, hey, maybe this is a fake out, maybe we do move higher. Overall, the RSI makes me bearish. Stochastics overall do make me bearish at the moment, but there's this little bit of hope if this 1 hour can close here or higher. If we can close green, that would be a positive. The MACD also at a point of resistance here. Typically, you do look to reject the zero at this kind of environment right here. You are dying off in bullish momentum. You had your bullish momentum building in higher highs, lower highs on the histogram. That's some bearish divergence there. I think that we're going to go lower. I think the stochastics, as nice and odd as this looks right now, I do believe that we go lower. Sometimes you find support on your way down. Let's see if we can find an example of this. You know, sometimes you find support on your way down and you still do move lower. So overall, I'm trusting the other two indicators. I'm trusting the way that this chart looks. I think that we will move lower. And again, if we are moving lower, we've got a few options. Okay, so are we going to see the golden ratio hold a support? It'll be a higher low overall, and then we move up higher. Are we going to come down to a double bottom, or will we see extensions? So if the golden ratio holds a support, you're looking to find support at about 16 cents to 15.9 cents. If that holds a support and you can get back up above 16.5 cents, so if you go down here and then you get above 16.5 cents, I would say at that point you validate your low and you're moving higher. If not, if we go lower, there's a possibility for a double bottom. Still, again, 16.5 cents being that line in the sand to watch to validate your low. Or more likely, if you go below the golden ratio, you'd likely see 15.2 cents come into play, 14.8 cents come into play, maybe even lower targets than that. But I think 15.2 to 14.8 is a good kind of target area to consider if you're considering, like I am, that we probably do see lower lows. It is possible that we don't see lower lows. It is possible that we hold this 15.9 to 16 cent area as support. But again, to validate that or to validate the double bottom, whatever might come our way, once you come down here and then you come back up above 16.5 cents, that means the low is in. Don't get that mistaken, right? Like right now, if we're at 17 cents, or I guess if we're at 17 cents, the low might be in. To be fair, but if we're at like 16.7 cents or above 16.5 cents now, that doesn't count. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about after we go down. If we come back up and we get above 16.5, that validates the low. Okay. For HBAR. Looking at the 4-hour time frame here, the RSI is also bearish, right? Lower highs and lower lows, you are in this downward sloping trend. You're actually finding turbulence here at the 40. That's not good. Typically, when you find turbulence at the 40, you do go back to the oversold zone, typically. Here you moved up, you found turbulence here. You did move up a little bit higher, but inevitably back to the oversold zone. Here you moved up, you found resistance at the 40, you came back down to the oversold zone both times actually. So typically that's what we would expect. I wouldn't be surprised if we did come down, right? Clearly I'm expecting that we do move down. With that, we'll have a higher low in the price and a higher low, higher low in the RSI, and a higher low in the RSI with a lower low in the price is bullish divergence. So I do think that we see something, if not below this wick here, at least something that closes below about 16 cents. We should have a 4-hour time frame close below 16 cents, and with that, we'll get bullish divergence on our 4-hour RSI. Same thing with the stochastics. The stochastics at the moment do look bearish, look like they're, I don't know if you guys hear my daughter making weird noises. It does look bearish, right? Moving up like this and then crossing down right here, that's not a good look. Typically, you do that in very bearish circumstances. And then, but again, if you do get lower lows on the price, but higher lows in the stochastics, that's bullish divergence on two indicators, the RSI and the stochastics. The MACD here, while you are crossing green, and that's nice, it's cute, I'm not amused. I think that you're going to come down. You still have 2 hours, 25 minutes left in this 4-hour candle, projected to go lower as time goes on. So this green might turn around and actually flip red by the end of this candle. Sometimes you get false crosses that, you flipped red here, but you kept building. You flipped red here, but you kept building, right? Here you might be flipping green and then keep building, but to the downside. That's kind of my expectation there. Daily time frame, zooming out, looking at this here, maybe even the weekly time frame. Overall, we're at a very, I think, opportunistic moment for HBAR here, right, in the course of its history. We're right now at this prior area of resistance. How many times, whenever we were at these high points here, were people considering anybody who bought down here lucky, fortunate, smart for buying here? We're at those same areas now. I think it really is all those words: lucky, fortunate, smart. You are strategic and making the right choices if you're buying at these levels. However, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, I do expect that we go a little bit lower still, right? So again, perfect time to DCA. Overall, I think we're very positive. Overall, I mean, if we look at where we came from the bear market, very massive phase of accumulation here. You had a very bullish comeuppance because of that. Now we're just consolidating, finding support, finding support at our prior resistance points here and even prior support points here, and likely we will move higher as a result of that. When we move higher, we're not just breaking out of this range, but we're breaking out to new all-time highs altogether. And whenever we do see new all-time highs, let's see, if we take a high to a low here, we should be moving up to about $1.21 to $3.15, somewhere in that area. That'd be my expectation. As our first stopping point. That's not where I think we'll be by the end of the cycle, but that's our first stopping point. I really wouldn't be surprised if by the end of this year, by the end of the year of 2025, we were well on our way. We were at new all-time highs, potentially even at $1.20 or higher. $1.20 to $2 is a long-awaited and anticipated target area that we've had, and that would be anything from about a 7x to a 11x move, maybe even a 12x move. Ultimately, I do think that we'll build higher, and going into the end of the cycle, going into April, May of 2026, I would anticipate that we see prices at $6.62, and even beyond that, we could see as much as a 41x to a 56x for HBAR by the end of the cycle. I don't think that we get much past that. I think $10 is our limitation right there. We probably don't even hit 10, but I wouldn't be surprised if we hit $9 by the end of the cycle, and that was our cycle high. If not there, at a minimum, by the end of the cycle, I would think that we're something above $3, okay, by the end of the cycle for HBAR. Anyways, that's HBAR. Let's move on to XLM, Stellar Lumens. Let's talk about this here, XLM. Looking at this here right now, Stellar's chart is very similar to HBAR, so this should go fast, but let's look at the 1 hour time frame and then zoom out from there, okay? 1 hour time frame, very similar, very similar, a little bit different, a little less pronounced of this range, right? It doesn't look like you're necessarily breaking out, but this is, it's odd, right? I don't think that it's bullish. I don't think that we found our low. Who cares what I think? But whenever you find your low, like notice how here you found your low, you're doing this exact same thing, but now it's to the downside, whereas like this, it's like this but to the upside, right? I don't think that we found our low yet, right? We were doing stuff like this when we were still looking for our low down here. I don't know. Maybe that's just superstition. I don't know if that's anything to go off of, but typically when we move up, if we found our low, we move up more pronounced, right? We don't see these kind of wimpy moves. That's just my expectation, right? Like this is wimpier than even what we had over here or over here overall. It is more persistent though. But it is the weekend. It's important to remember that volatility happens over the weekend sometimes, and it's very limited volatility. It's like very small ranges of volatility here, but still ups and downs and all arounds. The RSI is finding resistance at the same areas that it has before. Again, a bit of a different look here than any of these other points where you found resistance, right? It is a bit different. And that different behavior might be get different results. It is possible that I could be wrong here. Maybe we do move up. If stellar lumens moves up, HBAR is probably going to move up too. The stochastics actually do look positive here, bouncing right off the 50 is nice, but you bounced off the 50 before. It didn't really merit much for you. A little bit, but it didn't really bring too much. The MACD here, while you did cross above the zero, and that's nice, you do have bearish divergence there. So I really do think we're just setting up to roll over, and you'll probably see either a higher low or a lower low to play off of. That'd be my assumption here. Zooming out, looking at the 4-hour time frame, if we take this low here to this high here, you went just below the 1414, you're back at the 786, 886 zone. If you find turbulence here, you come back down to the 1272. If we get back below 31 cents, that's how we know that we likely do see a 28.4 cent price target. Okay, 28.4 cents. I'm pretty confident in that. That's probably where you go. If not, a little bit lower. I doubt we get below 28 cents, but if we do, 27 cents likely does hold. You find support down there, get that bullish divergence going on where, again, you get your lower lows in the price, higher lows in the RSI, higher lows in the stochastics, even higher lows in the MACD histogram as well. Could promote bullish divergence on all accounts. And then going into Sunday, we find our low. Monday, we start to recover from that low. And remember, the FOMC announcement is on the 29th, which is all the way over here, right? The announcement's right here. So we have more than enough time to, I think, configure ourselves, bottom out, and then start to rally back up going into that meeting. That's the assumption there for both stellar lumens and HBAR. Looking at the daily time frame, and again, the 4-hour, it's to me it looks bearish. Overall, I would say that it is bearish. Yeah, you had this bullish divergence, higher lows here, but I think you're going to further that drive. You're going to get another drive of bullish divergence, I think. The stochastics, to be fair, it's kind of the opposite of what HBAR is seeing, right? Like you're finding resistance at a weird point, where HBAR is finding support on the 1 hour at a weird point. You can find resistance here, but maybe this is implicative that you don't go below this low. Maybe you find a higher low. I don't know. But depending on what we do here in the next 2 hours and 20 minutes, that can really determine if this stochastics rejects here or if we do build higher. Even if we build higher, we can hit the overbought zone and then still reject. So even if we do go higher to like 33 cents, 34 cents, we can still reject from there and then come back down. I really wouldn't be surprised if that happened. I am expecting that we see something likely below 28.5 cents. That'd be my expectation. Zooming out a little bit on the daily, let's even look at the weekly time frame here. Weekly RSI is immaculate. I think the weekly actually looks really good on the RSI. The stochastics are bullish as well. And the MACD, right now we're flipped red, but overall it is bullish as well. Daily time frames, MACD looks sad. Stochastics do look sad. And the RSI has actually a drive of bullish divergence to go off of here. We'll see if by the end of the day, if you're still green. If you close red, there is no bullish divergence. You get rid of it, and maybe you still have it, but you live to fight another day, right? Once you close a day green, once we get that, then you do have bullish divergence officially. But we're only up 2.4% right now. We have 6 hours left in the day. The shorter term time frames are projected to go lower. I wouldn't be surprised if today closed red. Weekly time frame here. Looking at this, zooming out, finding support again, just for what it's worth, where we are finding support at a very key area of resistance, a key area of support back here, and even areas of support back here dating to last cycle. I really wouldn't be surprised if this zone as a whole was a perfect time to DCA and get in, even if we go a little bit lower. Don't let me stop you from buying. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I'm sure we recover and do well, but from a high to a low last cycle to the bear market low here this cycle, My expectation is that we will see new all-time highs, and that going into the end of the year for stellar lumens, we should at a minimum be at $1.50. At a maximum, I think $3.55 by the end of the year, and then moving on to higher. I mean, who am I to say maximum? Maybe we even see higher targets than that, but I think by the end of November we'll probably be closer to that $2.50 area personally. That's my expectation by the end of November. Going into the end of the year, we should be at like 355, and then the end of the cycle, I believe, will promote price targets at a minimum of $6.80 to a maximum of about $20. Anything and everything in between. I actually have a lot of there's a lot of points of significance here between like $10 and $15 to be fair, but they just don't line up with any fibs, and I'm a fib guy, so that kind of matters to me. But let's just see here. Let's look at this high to low and see, because I actually haven't projected out with these highs and lows here. I mean, there's reasons to stop at this $6.80 to $9 range, but and even, hey, look at that $13 to $16 there. There's some significance there, but I would say as a whole, by the end of the cycle, I'm expecting something between $6.80 to $20 as a cycle-ending top. By the end of the year, we're looking for something closer to $3 to $4. By the end of November, something that is above $2, yet below $2.50. That's my thoughts. I don't really have anything else that I want to say. I think I've said it all. If you guys liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I'm not worried about the price action at all. I think that this is just an opportunity to buy, and the weak hands will get shaken out. The strong hands will get shaken in. I don't know. They'll step up, buy this up, and once the supply is sucked up from the strong hands, all the weak hands are gone. Boom. There's only FOMOers, only pump chasers left, and they will be chasing this pump. Make no mistake, guys. Everybody who's telling you that they're out of the markets, they're done with crypto, they don't mean it. What they mean is, crypto's down, this sucks, I'm going to sell, I'll be back whenever the market's at higher prices, and they will be back whenever it's at higher prices. I hope that you're all holding on to your bags, you're not panicking, you're not selling, because we have a lot of cycle left to go for not just both these coins, but for everything in the markets. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one, okay? Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.